But I do think for sure that one thing that we need to stop doing as a musician body, and it's so many things, but the main thing that stifled me was comparing myself to other people.
This is The Music Executive, a show where we talk about gig tips, music business strategies, songwriting experiences, collabs, and even more with industry professionals. Let's get into it.
All right, y'all, welcome to the show. My name is Cinnamon Denise. That's cinnamon like the spice, Denise like Denise. And today we have an amazing guest. His name is Isaiah Hill. Now, Isaiah is not only a self-taught piano player, but he's also a successful piano player and music composer based out of Atlanta, Georgia, who has played for artists that I'm sure you and my parents and their parents have heard of, and even probably the generation after as well, such as Keith Sweat, Monica, and Tamar Braxton. So Isaiah, thank you so much for being on the show. What has been the highlight of your day?
Great question. The highlight of my day, it's funny because it literally probably 2 hours ago, I had to go to my parents' house because I got a call from my wife saying that Dr. Key's in the car. So I'm in the midst of making music for television and I get that text and I'm like, okay. And I'm literally about to hit bounce on my session. And she's like, can you come over to try to get the keys out of my car? And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I got you, right?
And it would be the day where Georgia finally winterized to happen today. You know what I mean? So I was outside with the locksmith for probably 30 minutes trying to figure out how to get into this car. So really a positive highlight, but it's definitely that was the most eventful part of my day.
There you go. But you got to be there for wifey, right?
Gotta be there for her.
Gotta be there for her. Well, we're so excited to have you today. Can you tell us just a little bit about your background? I know I touched on some things, but I think you know you better than I would know you, right? So those were a few of my favorite things about you. But tell us some of your favorite things about the projects you've done and the things you're working on.
Yeah, so the things that you touched on, those are pretty much the highlight of my, touring career. And all of those gigs came like the Keith Sweat, Monica, Tamar Braxton, and a few other like local artists. That was kind of a snowball effect. I got the Monica gig first, and then that turned into the Tamar gig because they have kind of the same camp, same musical director, different band, but just, same kind of team behind it. And then that turned to the Keith Sweat gig. So that's kind of my touring life. Though between those three, they kind of keep me busy, mainly with Keith Sweat because I'm one of his 3 keyboard players. But other than the touring and playing live, I also do a lot of live gigs around town. I do like a lot of private gigs and stuff like that. Turning my attention more toward composing music for television and film. So right now I'm working with a few music libraries that, send me briefs. And they're like, hey, we need a song that sounds like this, but we can't because we don't want to get it cleared. So can you kind of recreate, put your own spin on it? So I've been kind of in the mode of just like really dissecting popular songs and trying to keep the integrity of the song, but still putting my own flair on it because they called me because they like my style. They didn't call me because they wanted to call somebody, you know what I mean? So do what they ask, but still, put yourself in there.
Got you. Yeah. Let's back up because you kind of just jumped. You passed everything you way past me, Isaiah. But listen, so let's start with the self-taught piano player. What does that even mean? And how did that lead to a full tuition scholarship to the prestigious Berkelee College of Music? Shout out to Berkelee students.
Berkelee, whoop, whoop. Shout out. I feel like for this story to make sense, I'd have to go back when I first started playing piano. My granddad, I had to be like maybe 6 years old. My granddad, me a bicycle for Christmas and bought my older sister, a piano for Christmas. And we've always had this kind of sibling rivalry. So we thought that the other person had the better gift. So I was like, nah, my sister isn't going to get the better gift. And my sister was like, nah, he ain't about to get the better gift. So we put our gifts down and like gravitated to the other gift. So shout out to Janae for being stubborn and not wanting to piano because that's what kind of introduced me to piano. So then from there, all little toy piano had to be 40 keys that had the, programmable sounds in it so you can hit a button and it would play Mary Had a Little Lamb and Took a Little Star. And I would just hit a button, listen to it and just try to play it back, not knowing that I was setting myself up for being able to play by ear. I just wanted something to do in my spare time. I thought it was a cool thing to do. It went from playing Mary Had a Little Lamb on my small little Casio keyboard to, later on in middle school and high school, learning songs off the radio and trying to play it, for the girls in high school and playing for the talent shows and just trying to, just play piano just to entertain people. But I didn't start taking it seriously until high school. My junior year in high school is when I got into jazz band, and they didn't have a piano player. So my band director, Mr. Oliver, William Oliver, huge shout out to him because he was very instrumental in just making sure I was set up for success at an early age. He was like, I know you can play by ear. I know I can sit anything in front of you. You can play it. That's cool. But I need you to read these charts because this is a whole nother side of the game that you need to know. And I'm sure you already know, like, those are two different worlds. Like, reading music and listen and playing by ear, it really takes two different parts of the brain. And the great musicians are able to do both equally as well. So he really pushed me to be able to read music, like charts and sheet music and all that, and individual notes and everything. Because I told him that Berkelee was the only school I wanted to go to. That's the reason he was so hard on me. He was like, "Are you sure you don't want to go to this other conservatory? It's a lot out here, man." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm going to Berkelee." Like, I have nothing else on my list but Berkelee College of Music because I just knew Berkelee was progressive. They were accepting of every style of music, gospel, jazz, funk, contemporary, everything.
Right.
Berkelee accepting of everybody. So that's why
exactly.
I wanted to go there because I know, whatever I wanted to do, I'd have that support there to, really let my gift shine. So between the Casio keyboard, William Oliver, and just my love of trying to play music, entertain my family and friends, that's what really, gave me the practice to be able to learn by ear.
Okay, so you learn how to play by ear. You learn how to read the charts with William Oliver. I'm thinking he said is his name. So like you said, shout out to Mr. Oliver. I feel like a lot of musicians have that band director that just sets you up for the right thing. Shout out to the band directors, man. So you said, I'm going to Berkelee. What happened senior year, junior year of high school that manifested that?
So I also have to give a shout out to CMC Atlanta. It's a small network, and I was able to basically just teach lessons for this music school. And the funds pretty much went to fund my tuition scholarship, my full tuition scholarship. So I feel like just by me putting that into the atmosphere and manifesting that opened the doors for me to be able to hook up with these people that allowed me to go to Berkelee.
Nice. Yeah, that's beautiful that you have that support system and that they've really set you up for literally success. And my thing is, where did film scoring come into the picture? Like, where did this come? How did this develop? Like, what? This is all the way left field because you mentioned that one of your dreams, which I'll let you talk about, one of your dreams is to score a very specific film for a specific company. And where in the world did this come from?
It's funny because I was talking to somebody today about this. And for me, wanting to get into this industry, it's funny. I'm not a big movie person. I'm not a huge movie buff.
Yet you want to score. Yet you want to score movies.
So this passion really came from, with me being on the road, that came also from me really wanting to be on the road with all these artists. I was praying, I was begging, I was doing all these phone calls, just trying to get on the road with these artists. But meanwhile, I saw my friends on the road with all these artists, doing their thing. And I'm like, I'm at the crib chilling, not doing anything. But I feel like by me praying, God put me on showed me that this isn't what you should be doing full time. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times we're going to do things because we want it. And then we're going to be there and be like, you know what? It's cool, but there's more. And I really feel like in the music industry, we musicians only see a certain thing. We think the pinnacle of our musical career is get a gig with a dope artist and we've arrived. That's it. Like, that's the pinnacle of our career, but there's so much more out there. And I got introduced to it a little bit at Berkelee because there's a whole film scoring department at Berkelee. So I knew about that, so I took some film scoring classes, some business classes, but the passion really came after I left Berkelee and came back home. I was on a gig, and it was a strange gig because I was playing, but I just wasn't present. My body was present, but my mind was elsewhere. And I heard the voice of God say that you should be scoring films. Heard it clear as day. He said you should be scoring films. But it was confusing because I've never really had a passion for it up until that moment. And then the more research that I did after that gig, I was like, this might be the industry for me, because it's something really fulfilling about seeing picture and putting music to it, because they work one and the same. You can't have one without the other. You know what I mean? They can both function well without each other, but when you bring them both together, it's a powerful thing when they're done right.
Right.
So,
I have a friend who said, I watch scary movies with the music off and the subtitles on, and it's no longer scary.
exactly.
And I'm like, first and foremost, if you're that scared of the movie, you shouldn't be watching the movie.
Turn it off and go to bed.
Go to bed. Go watch a Disney movie or something like that. But, that's the power of music. Is it evokes so much emotion when you're watching anything. Is because if you're saying you compose scores, that's not just for music. That's not just for movies. That can be for commercials. That can be for television shows, et cetera, et cetera. So that's not just movies. That's a lot of things. Now, the other thing that I do want to ask you is, this show is about individuals in the music industry who are making it happen, have made it happen, and are going to continue to do so. So what is something that you have seen other musicians or composers doing that they should just stop doing? Because you mentioned, hey, people think we play for a dope artist, we go on tour, that's the pinnacle. Clearly, you don't think that's right. You don't think that's it. So what should we stop doing? Should we change the mentality? What do you think?
So when I say that it's not it's person to person, because that person may have that from being a youngin' and they get on that dope gig and they do feel that in their heart of hearts that they're fulfilled. I just didn't personally feel that fulfillment playing with artists. I'm still going to do it because I love that energy of being on stage and that rush of playing in front of thousands of people. I feel like that's super dope, but I'm just not as fulfilled as when I'm put on my composer hat. But I do think for sure that one thing that we need to stop doing as a musician body, and it's so many things, but the main thing that stifled me was comparing myself to other people. Woo.
Boom.
That right there, that rabbit hole of all type of depression, anxiety, bad thoughts. Yeah, we got
episode over.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Let me ask you just about 2 more questions, Isaiah. What role would you say your faith has played in your career? You keep bringing up God. How do you integrate that into your career?
I just know that the opportunities that I've gotten, I wouldn't be able to have it without God in my life. And people believe in different things, and however you feel like guides you, you need to believe in that and lean on that, because personally, I feel like if it's up to you, you're only going to get so far. You're going to need help. And, I'm a huge interview person. I love watching interviews. I just love hearing people speak. That's one of my quirks. I just love hearing, I love hearing people speak, especially like people that just speak well and very concise, very intelligent people. One thing that I hear a lot of successful people say is, I didn't get here by myself. Now, whether they had a strong team behind them, they had a strong mother behind them, a strong village behind them, or a strong spiritual belief behind them, you're not going to get to where you want by yourself. You'll get to a cool place. You'll be like, cool, I made it here. But you're only going to go so far by yourself. You need help, whether it's from, like I said, from that spiritual being, in my case, it's God, whatever religion you believe in, or just a good set of solid friends, which I'm grateful to have. I have a solid circle of friends that I can call my brothers and my sisters, or just a strong family, a strong village. You need people around you to push you to where you need to be, and to where if you say something, they're like, okay, we know how to, help you get there.
Get there. Exactly. Yeah. Totally agreed. Totally agree. There is one of my professors at Berkelee as well. I told him, I was like, I'm going to mix my album. He was like, why are you mixing your own album? He was like, Esperanza Spalding doesn't mix her album. And I was like, you might have a point. And that's the same thing you're saying. You have a team, you have people around you, you have whatever spiritual belief you have. That's what gets you to where you're trying to go. And it's not just a one-way street, right? It's a mutually beneficial relationship. And that's the beautiful thing about music. I think there's a camaraderie that happens. Like, you can't have a band. You can put a band together by yourself and kind of do a looping thing and that sort of thing. But a band is a group of people.
Yeah.
Period.
You need to feed off of. And there's no other energy like that, which is why it's tough right now because, I'm not playing in church. I'm not doing as many gigs. So, I'm in the studio, composing a lot. So I'm missing that just person to person interaction, where I can look at the bass player and be like, oh, snap. Yeah, that was dope. Look at the drum and be like, oh, bro, that was killing what you did. That you can't recreate that just by yourself.
Exactly. Totally agree. Well, this has really been great. If the audience wants to follow you, where should they go? How can they find you? If they want to email you, where can they go?
You can find me on Instagram at Isaiah_Malik Music, Facebook, Isaiah Hill, and my email address is IsaiahMalik1@gmail.com. And I'm always near my phone, I'm always near my laptop. So if you hit me up, I'll hit you right back.
Beautiful. Well, Isaiah, we are so honored to have you on the show. You're full of energy, full of light, full of love. So thank you so much for being on the show. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you so much.
Don't forget to leave a rating of the show. It helps to make us better. Thanks so much. Y'all take care.